Here's a clamp. You just twist it to get it tighter or loose. And here's the material you place on the edge of your table. It's that material that you line your cabinets with, and you place your clamp firmly against the edge. Make sure it's snugged up, and then it's just a matter of twisting it to get the clamp on. Nice thing about this material is that it will, one, protect your table, and then also keep it from sliding as much. You can get it a little tighter without damage to the table. If you're not, if you don't care about the table, you could just do it without the material. I'm trying to get this thing tightened just enough and give it a little wiggle to see how tight it is, and we're done. Now we place our pantograph on top, just like so. Now we have the lead holder, which holds the lead, and we have our tracing stylus, which I've actually filed down. It was pretty sharp when I got it, and they're held on and tightened on with some little, I guess you'd call them nuts here. And that's a little view of that. Here we have 1 3/5 is how much I want to enlarge this. So we match those two pieces of wood up on the same fraction there, 1 3/4 or 1 3/5, and then we slide the bolt and then the nut on it. And we don't want it too tight. We want it to be able to move. And here's another one. There will be two places where you do that, and you match them up in exact same numbers, 1 3/5. And there are other fractions that you can use, and you just match up the two, one on top of the other, and then the other two, one on top of the other, on the same numbers, on however large you want to enlarge it. And we have a I don't know, a brace that slides on the table as you're drawing. It's just a little ball-like thing, and it sort of just moves around, kind of braces it up as you're drawing. Alright, now I have my reference photo and my drawing paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch both of the points, lift it up, and put it where I want it on the tip of the toe on the farthest part of the reference photo, and see where it lands on the paper. And if I don't like where it lands on the paper, I'll just move the paper a little bit there, and we have now matched up. We match it up on the far left side, and watch where the lead lands. If I don't like where it lands, I just move the paper in a little. And I haven't taped anything yet because I want to be able to move them around, obviously. I just lift it up so I don't make any unnecessary marks. I usually do make some kind of a mark, but so now I move it around. I see where everything lands. Whatever part I want to be copied, I want to make sure that lead lands on the paper in the same places here. And I move everything around, and through the magic of video, we now have taped everything down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on a point on the reference photo, and I want to put my sinker, which is a lead weight, kind of hold that down to make the mark so I can see it. And you're not going to be able to see it as well on the video, but there will be a close-up. I'm going to do, I move it up, holding on to the tracing stylus, moving out on every part and watching this lead to make sure that it's making some kind of a mark. I can also hold it on the lead holder and watch the drawing stylus, the tracing stylus, if I wanted to. That I'm in an awkward position here, so I can't do it that way, but that's, you could experiment as you use this. I prefer to actually hold it on the tracing stylus, and I'm going a lot faster than I normally would. If I want to move it to another point, I just lift it up, put it back down, and start tracing again. You want to trace everything on the photo that you want to see on the drawing paper. Anything unnecessary, obviously, you wouldn't trace. You can trace also places where shadows start and begin. You wouldn't believe how sensitive this thing is, though. It's every little movement of your hand seems to be transferred over to the paper, and you get some squiggly lines, which, like I said, you can't see it too well on this yet, but I'll show you a close-up. So I'm going up now, I think the heel of the paper here, as careful as I can and as quickly as I can, so I won't bore us to tears here. This is not going to be complete, and but you can see a semi-finished version on my website. Just going along here. On the outside, I keep watching the lead just in case. You know, I make mistakes and I don't put things where they belong or where they should be. So I just want to make sure it's making a mark and it's still on the paper. Sometimes you'll accidentally get off the paper because of a positioning problem that you have. Obviously, it's going to take some practice. I'm not anywhere close to being a professional with this. So let's take your time. A lot more time than I'm taking here. Plus, being in an awkward position, every little movement now is just making it squiggles. If you get a squiggle, you just lift it up, put it back down again. If you get off track, you can always come back after you're finished and erase. And I'll show you that after I'm finished with the basic outline here. Watching the tip of my lead, I see it's down at the bottom now. So I lift it up and I go to another place that I want to go. Still watching my lead. Trying to pick up speed here. Lift up again and find another spot that I might have missed. It's particularly gets kind of hairy when you get into the real tight turns and you have to lift things up because it just transfers right to the lead. You get these funny little squiggles. And I personally think it's best if we do these, or if I do them with inanimate objects. Faces, I think, you'd see all the little mistakes, because, you know, a shoe doesn't have characteristics that a person can pick out as easily in a face. And when there's a mistake on a face, you can just really, really notice it. So you might just practice with flowers and fruits and shoes and things that where you're not going to be able to tell if there's such a mistake. I have done a face when I first got it. I tried to do a face and it was not as good as I thought it should be. Still tracing here. This is, I think, a little area here that's gonna kind of tough here. I see I made a little squiggle. So I come back and go over it again. Alright, and we'll show you the places here. You can see where it's just not straight lines. So I'll just go over the lines with eraser and straighten things out and darken them up now. You can also, at places where there's going to be really dark, you could actually shade in little places. And I'm just straightening it out, darkening it up. Actually, I'm not really sure what grade of lead this thing has in it. I don't know if it's a soft or a hard. It seems to be pretty soft. So blending it is not a problem, at least in my experience. So here I see some squiggly, very squiggly little areas here, and so I just sort of straighten them out and erase anything that's stray. After I'm finished with this, and then you just go back and look at the photo and see, okay, what is it I missed here? Did I miss a line? Did I miss a place? Is it in the right place? And you can always go back with the pantograph before you untape it and then go back over it again to hit things that you may have missed, and I've done that before. I shade in just a little bit here. I know this is going to be dark here, so I should kind of shade it in. It just gives me a visual reference. Sometimes when you stare at something so long, all the lines just seem to blend together, or you get confused. So I just sort of darken little areas, straighten out things. And I'm not taking near as much time as I would normally take. Now there's a little dip right here, kind of rounded, and then thinking this is probably not as straight as it's. But here you can see where the heel and the sole kind of, and here I kind of didn't quite get down to the bottom, so I kind of finish it off. Up in here, it looks like it needs a little straightening, and some more now at the foot, I guess, the top of the foot here. I'm actually looking back and forth to kind of see if there's anything I'm missing, a little curve here, a little curve there, make sure I'm getting at least the shape. Can always be fixed as you're refining it. There's still a lot of little squiggles that would have to be fixed. Okay, and then we just finish it up here and fill in whatever we need to fill in. And there's a little place. Yeah, it's beginning to look a lot like a shoe now. And just clean it up as we go. You'll do a lot more cleaning up as you go further along into it. Sorry about my head there. I'm using a drafter's brush to brush it off. case I get oils on it. But I would normally use a glove or something to put down on the paper, but this is just a demo, so it's not that important. So, well, thanks a lot, and